Welcome back to the show, everybody. Listen to some of these headlines here. Ripple's Swell event is just days away. SEC versus Ripple latest. We're also going to hear from John Deaton on SEC versus Ripple potential settlement. You're going to want to hear every bit of that. Co-founder of Bitso Exchange raves about XRP ODL. You're going to love that. European Union central banks and distributed ledger technology. We got European central banks in general. And ECB and the digital euro expand overall payment solution. And we talk about that. The House infrastructure bill with the crypto verbiage has passed. Apparently, it moves to the president's desk. And you know who the power goes to now? You guessed it, the US Treasury. And the new payment technology for the Internet of Value is ready, ladies and gentlemen. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
This is Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Subscribe for new content notifications. Now, here's Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow me on Twitter at BackupBradleyAbove and everything that we're talking about here today. $2.715 trillion, ladies and gentlemen. It is now 11/7, right? No, I'm sorry. It is the 6th. I'm tired. It's the middle of the night. I've been traveling. Please forgive me. Hit the like button. Anyway, 2.71 trillion is where we are in the middle of the night of the 6th. And we're looking here right now. I wanted to put this video together because the news broke. We did see the House pass the bill. It apparently moves to the president's desk. We're going to look at that information and so much more. Stay with me here. Right now, Bitcoin's over 61,000. Ethereum over 4,400, almost $4,500. Solana, $243 plus, and Cardano back over $2 at 201, and XRP at 117 right now. Let's take a look at the range. The range is still 114, 1.6 on the low side, and 120 on the high side for XRP price. We will keep an eye on it here. We will talk a little bit about price before we get out of here today. But the Ripple Swell event is moving very close now, just a few days away here, and you can see it starts on the 9th. And we have Brad Garlinghouse speaking, then college president, Queens College president here. Then we have all the other events here. You can see this on my Twitter. I'm not going to read them all off to you, but I do want to let you know that they are here for you to see. And we are going to move to this section that I wanted to read to you out of here because obviously the first day starts with a speech from Ripple's Brad Garlinghouse. And here it also says at 1:50 a.m., virtual currency XRP Ripple will be a part of the remittance technology. We will preview new products scheduled to be released in 2022 from RippleNet. It says which uses the, and I'm sure it's going to be XRP token or the XRP ledger or RippleNet. So either way, let me show you this right now. Ladies and gentlemen, you know, we're going to look at some information on the latest on the case. And I just want to say to you, if you are accredited and you want to get Ripple stock, you can do it at link2.com. It is private investing made simple. And I tell you right now, there it is. Ripple's right there and many other products, Uphold, Kraken, you see them. But I tell you this, I believe personally, not financial advice. If you don't want to get it, don't get it. But the reality is that I look at the case as straight suppression. I look at that as creating a dip in the market, just like the suppression that's been on the XRP token. I think the same thing is happening for the stock. Brad Garlinghouse has told us time and time again, when this case is over, and it will end, and you're going to hear even about a settlement possibility from John Deaton. And if that happens, or if it goes the distance, it will end. And then they're going to be the most vetted company, the most vetted digital asset, and I think nothing but upside. Now, that's my speculation, so don't invest on that. But the reality is, if you want to get Ripple, I don't think it'll be any cheaper than it is right now. That's the point I'm trying to make to you. So let's look here. This is BitBoy who breaks it down as we get into the news about the case. And believe me, stay with me now through all of this, because you're going to see some information that I believe is set up in this infrastructure bill that points directly to the U.S. Treasury, as we have been talking about for years. But let's start right here with this very quick clip from BitBoy here about the Howey test and Ripple and what is the latest hurdle for the SEC in this case. And of course, the internet is jamming up one bit here. Let me see if I can fix this. 1 second. Okay, I think we got it now. Now let's give it a whirl here. Here we go.
Last week also saw Ripple scoring some major points against the Goon Squad. How? Well, unfortunately for he who must not be named, Judge Netburn is ordering the SEC to explain, among other things, how the Howey test applies to XRP, status of Ether and Bitcoin, and the sale of XRP as investment contracts. Ouch. Attorney Hogan put it best. The SEC is going to be forced to admit that there is nothing in any of these contracts that create an expectation of profits by purchasers of XRP.
And that's really it right there. And that's a point that has been driven home by Jeremy Hogan, myself, John Deaton, and a handful of others out here, that really is the truth. There is no contract between the secondary market holders, which are retail investors like you and I. We don't have a contract between us and Ripple. But the reality is, the scary part of this case against them is that is exactly what the SEC is claiming and Gary Gensler. Let's take a look at this, because this is Attorney Deaton, and shout out to him. If you have not signed up for that petition, I encourage you to check it out and do so. Also, they have a Connect to Congress button, which is very, very easy to navigate, and it will connect you directly to your representative in your area. Make sure you check that out. Okay, so Attorney John Deaton said that it's quite possible that the SEC settles with Ripple so they can go after other cryptos instead of XRP. Take a look at this right here. He says, he was on the Paul Barron Network, and by the way, shout out to Paul Barron. He has a fantastic show that he does. If you haven't checked it out, make sure you do. Will the SEC settle while winning and losing the lawsuit seem like clear-cut results? A settlement comes with its own implications. Deaton claimed if the judge finds that XRP is not a security, that the SEC did not give fair and adequate notice to the market, if they get a ruling and win, that's going to stop Gensler's jurisdictional approach to crypto, because at that point in time, really, the SEC would only have jurisdiction over a pure ICO type of offering. So it's quite possible the SEC settles with Ripple so they can still potentially go after other cryptos. Look, I've been saying this exact thing from this channel. It feels good to hear a lawyer say it, because I've been saying this exact point. I have to wonder if the SEC will allow this case to go up to the motion for fair notice defense to be ruled on by the judge. Remember this fact while we follow all of this. The Hogan legal team has told us that they don't usually see these motions get pushed to the back end the way we've been seeing them. Now, my own speculation tells me that there's heavy mediation going on for a settlement if that be the case. Maybe it's just the way the judge does it, though. But the other side of this equation is that when that motion does get ruled on, if it does not go in the SEC's favor, then there are tons of crypto projects that will be able to use that same defense, and it will literally cut the feet underneath the SEC and rip the rug right out from underneath of them, and they won't be able to go after all these other projects that have been in the space just as long or almost as long as Ripple has with XRP. That's the point here, and I think that's our next window to watch. If we're going to see a settlement before it goes to distance, maybe it is before that fair notice defense, and then they either drop or settle the case and then go on to some other projects that don't have the money to be able to combat them the way that Ripple does. We'll see. It could go to distance too. Looking right here, we see Joseph Lubin saying they weren't selling securities in this clip down here. He's very clear about that in the 45 seconds. And shout out to Ripple Eye here who pulled this clip. He's just been crushing it. And so is TAIG. You guys are absolutely tearing it up out here. Kudos to all of you for doing that, and everybody else too. Let's take a listen to this quick clip here. Okay, here we go. Forgive the spinning.
A prestigious law firm in New York, and essentially got an opinion about what our token launch was, and essentially had to define all those things, had to define what Ether was, had to define what gas was, and essentially convinced the lawyers and convinced ourselves that according to the Howey test, we were not selling security, non-registered security, potentially to Americans, but we were selling this consumer utility token.
Now, is Mike Novogratz an American? Because I'm pretty sure they sold millions of dollars worth to his ass. I don't know what's going on here, but I tell you something. You know, the people at the SEC need to have their hold card checked, because I'm going to tell you right now, something's not copacetic here. You know, now you can register as, you don't need to be a lawyer to know this. You can register as a product and good in Planet Xanadu. If you're touching the American investor, you're touching American laws and American regulation, period. End of story. But here's the other point to this. Check this out.
For April, and then it's just a question of making sure everybody has enough advance notice so they can read.
Let me skip it up.
Sides of a sale, just to make it easier to disguise.
Make it easier to disguise for large whale investors. That's what we're talking about. Using fake accounts with pseudonymous names in order to invest without revealing your actual identity. Is that, I'm not a lawyer. This doesn't sound legal, but yet he's here, you know, on all of these different shows. You know, where are the people that are out here that are calling him out, that are supposed to be in media, whether it's CNBC, which he's been on, or whether it's even the other bigger YouTubers out here, the Laura Shins of the world, right? The Pomplianos. Where are all these other YouTubers that are calling, or other large channels out here that have had these people or covered these people and calling them out about this? I know that they've seen it. You think we're going to go away? The problem here is we have the truth on our side. They can tout that they tried to do a workaround, and look, and mad respect for trying to build a workaround. But the whole how to hide your identity so a whale can invest millions upon millions or whatever they want to do without being found out by regulators? Well, you can call yourself a product and a good if you want to, but that sounds like criminal activity. I'll leave it for a judge to decide, but something doesn't sound copacetic on that. And we need to keep and continue to hold the torch to them to get this thing done. And in that, it also involves the SEC. And right here, we see that Rob Licker has put this together to start a petition to President of the United States to, in fact, ask for Gary Gensler to really hand in his resignation. I have not been happy with his lack of leadership, and I know a lot of people haven't been happy. So really, there's already 570 people signed up. I will be doing so. Make sure you do too. It is right on crypto law. He's got it at change.org, but it's connected to his video. You'll be able to find it. This needs to really get as big and not big as or bigger than the actual class action itself. Now let's keep moving, because let's get into the positive side of things here. This is one of the most powerful examples of utility, superior technology, and the technology improving quality of human life, and the tragic impact of government overreach and intrusion. This is Daniel Vogel, co-founder of Bitso Exchange Today, really raving about Bitso is moving 8% of U.S. to Mexico, and they were using $40 billion corridor at their peak last year using XRP ODL solution. Actual life-changing, transformative use case of crypto tech outweighs speculation. Take a listen.
We're starting to see like real change happening, and it's still small scale, right? Because when we compare it again to the speculative nature of crypto trading around the world, well, these things are kind of like insignificant. But when you talk to the individuals and you realize like how life-changing this is, the lifelines that this technology is providing for them, the actual use cases and transformative nature of the technology, it's incredible. No, it
is incredible, and he knows it just as well as anybody knows it. Listen, this is why I played in yesterday morning's video about the CFPB as a reminder, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, who decided in 2020, in the summer of 2020, that to make effective for settlement, you could use Swift GPI for instant payment, or you could use Ripple and the virtual currency, they called it, XRP, to effect settlement between banks and credit unions. This is where we're going. And you know what? To that point, take a look here. European central banks are working on distributed ledger technology based asset settlements. They're not playing around. This is what's coming. They're doing it. They're ramping up their efforts to utilize distributed ledger technology, the foundation of blockchain, and the central bank money as settlements. And then what else do we see? European Central Bank says that the digital euro should expand overall payment solutions. Overall payment solutions. In other words, total control, keeping relevance for the central banks in the monetary system. Take a look here. It goes through all of this, and I just want to put it, and really it has all this kind of, we should do this, but before we do it, we should look at this, and before we do this, we have to be aware of this. You know, all the things they talk about, another study, another meeting, another, conference on it all. But at the end, they say the ECB might issue a digital currency in order to safeguard consumer access to central bank money. Safeguard consumer access. They're doing it for us, not for them. They're doing it for us. It's always for the children. Yeah. This is a line of shit is what this is. This is about remaining powerful and in control and relevant. And make no mistake about it, they always package it up that they're doing it for us. Well, guess what? We got a big, big signal here, ladies and gentlemen. The House infrastructure bill with the crypto tax provision is to the president now. The vote passed with bipartisan support Friday night. That's it. That's why we're making this video right now in the middle of the night. It says here, the crypto industry was concerned about tax reporting requirement within the bill that sought to expand the definition of broker for IRS purposes. The reporting requirement would see brokers report transactions under the current tax code. Industry proponents worried the definition would be too broad, capturing entities like minors and other parties that don't actually facilitate transactions. Keep listening. Pushback against the provision held up the bill's passage in the Senate, where the infrastructure bill originated, giving the industry a chance to push for an amendment to modify the language. Ultimately, however, the Senate passed the bill without adopting any amendments, despite the 11th hour effort to secure a change. The Treasury Department still has to explain how it plans to interpret the bill and publish guidance spelling out how businesses or other entities will have to comply with it. Who's the big dog on the block now? It's the entity we've been talking about for almost 2 years, the U.S. Treasury. And what it looks like to me, through what looks to be, language and bad language that was put in, all of a sudden lays the hammer and the gauntlet down to the feet of the Treasury to call the shots. This gets very interesting because what did we just report yesterday morning? It was Wally Adeyemo who actually told us, let me set the record straight. Crypto and the U.S. Treasury and blockchain are cool. And we want to use it, and they're going to.
Because my sense is that there may be a misconception about the relationship.
Let me get this to do right for us here.
The blockchain industry and the government on this issue. There's a belief, to be frank, that we're at odds. The Treasury conceives as ransomware as a problem with cryptocurrency, and that in order to stop the former, we must severely restrict what happens in this industry. But this is not how we see things. We cannot stress that enough. It is not how we see them at all. Let me explain. The first story is a story of 1 in every 9 people on Earth who are supported by a loved one, often working abroad and sending money back home. Some 250 million plus migrants around the world send an average of $200 to $300 to their families each month. Today, they pay a high price for the privilege. Of that $300 monthly payment to their family, they can expect to lose on average $21, 70%, to those operating the payment systems that get their money from point A to point B. Even for people or companies transacting within wealthy nations, the cost of cross-border payments, while lower than at any point in history, remain high. A payment among G7 nations still incurs about a 2% transaction fee. That presents a challenge because history tells us that when that fee goes down, the pace and volume of commerce will increase. I know many of you entered the world of blockchain technology to solve problems like this one. You see cryptocurrency and related fintech innovation as a way to make the global economy easier to navigate for everyone. And I want to let you know, we share that aspiration.
And I'm not sure how many other projects are actually working on that problem, but I know Ripple and XRP absolutely can solve that problem. And that is the US Treasury telling you they want to use the technology of blockchain and crypto to solve that problem. There's no misreading that. And when that gets a lot more weight to it, when you understand that the bill just got passed and leaves the verbiage in such a way in that bill that was passed that it leaves it up to the Treasury to really explain to the rest of us how they're going to use guidance and spell out to businesses and other entities that have to comply with it. They are in control now. And that is pretty damn interesting to understand it, because as soon as it's signed, it is done. It's a fact until it's amended. And who knows, it may never get amended. And it may be their little catch-all that they've done with what looks like an accident in the verbiage, but all of a sudden leaves the U.S. Treasury in control. And I remind you, the U.S. Treasury is not a market regulator like the CFTC and the SEC. They are a prudential regulator. They don't need Congress's approval. They just do stuff. And that's why they have the regulatory agency FSOC, and that's why they have OFAC. And these two agencies alone can do a lot to monitor cryptocurrency. Now, very quickly, let's move through this because the payment system is already ready. The technology is already here. Shout out to 432 HZ Hertz XRP here. This is actually a post he pulled from back in 2018 from Stephen Thomas, Just Moon here. And it was a Coil article, and he talks about the fact that the early days you couldn't have like the internet with a monetization side built into it because the technology didn't exist. He said this happened when the internet was about, and it was short that aspect because the payment technology wasn't ready, but it is now. With the technologies we've helped build at Ripple, XRP, the Interledger, we can process trillions of transactions per second without any central authority. Get you some of that. This was in 2018 when he made that post, ladies and gentlemen. So what kind of advancements have happened since 2018 that we don't even know about? And he told us it was ready then. I can tell you this, all of this leads me to feel like we definitely have a shot at a $4 XRP in the next few weeks, like a lot of these technical analysts are saying. I keep my fingers crossed, and it's glass half full over here at my house or hotel room, wherever you happen to be. And that's where I am today. That's going to do it for me, ladies and gentlemen. This is getting very exciting out here. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe, leave a comment below, share with somebody you know. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Check out all the links in the description and comment box. Ledger Nano Cold Storage, great specials. You want to get protect your identity online. It is Pure VPN. You want to get great tax information and advice? Call Clinton Donnelly, but you got to click the link. Best way to buy crypto is buying tax-free crypto. You can do it with iTrust Capital. Got to do it, but you got to click the link. Catch you all on the next one.